No, well, as you've probably seen, Freud in my recent posts, both on Twitter and on Discord. I'm well enough that I'm actually in front of you. This morning was a little rough. I was planning to get up and actually do a proper stream, but I tell you what. This pretty much has become con crud. Although I still call it the Wrath of Thanos because it kicked in. The night we went to go and see. No, it didn't. We went to go and see Avengers Endgame.
It kicked out after.
No, actually, no. It kicked. We're talking right after. Let me bring you up to speed. I'm going to bring the kiddo up to speed. I'll bring me up to speed because that's what we were going to talk about here. I was going to focus on was taking care of yourself as a streamer. It's something I talk about in Twitch for Dummies, and I've been looking for more topics to talk about from the book and from content creation and stuff like that. I haven't done one of these content creation streams, one of these Ask Me Anything streams for quite some time. So when I got really sick, I thought, this is... Hey now! I can also talk about cats and the joys of having cats and being a streamer. So let's back up a bit. Taking care of yourself. When you are a streamer and you're starting off can be anything from a few months to your first year to a guy like me who started to develop a following, then completely changed his streaming schedule, then changed it back again. And, I mean, you have all kinds of different setbacks. But one of the things you'll hear streamers and content creators of any kind, they'll say, you got to be consistent, be consistent, be consistent, be consistent, be consistent. In getting the content out in a timely manner. Right now, I'm a week behind in that timely manner because, without warning, I got hit hard. Yeah, exactly. Now, let me give you a little background between Freud and myself. We both work in open source. Yes, I can say that. We both work in open source. We used to work in the same initiative that was focused on open source, but now Freud has moved up and in the world. He's now working for the good people at GitHub, and he still shows a lot of support for the initiative, which is code.gov. That's where I'm at right now. And when you watch Freud's stream, it's worth it. Freud. He does open source coding using code.gov projects, but this is kind of like the we could broaden this up not just for streamers and content creators. We could open this for open source creators as well. The demand on you to grow in a community, whether it's Twitch, whether it's open source, or whether it's both, is that constant need of creating content and staying on top of your community, of the micro community you're creating within the community. And what is really tough is when you're starting off and you're starting to get a following and then something unexpected happens. In particular, what happens is you suddenly get ill. Case in point with me. So before this stream, I tried to stream yesterday, very casual stream. It didn't even last 2 hours. Discoverability within 2 hours is kind of hit or miss. But what happened to me last week? I'm normally a morning streamer. If you want to see my schedule, of course, you can always go to my channel and you can get all the lowdown there. But what happened was that I gave a stream on Monday and I had a tickle in my throat. And I said, well, I just got to get through Avengers Endgame. Once I get through Endgame, I'm good. I'm solid. I'm a rock star. Because I was not going to wait beyond Monday. Because I knew there would be spoilers galore. Just based off of the Battle for Winterfell. I mean, I was like, I've got to see Avengers within the first 4 days that it comes out. Otherwise, I'm screwed. I did manage to go completely spoiler-free. I'm going to keep it spoiler-free. If anybody does drop spoilers for Endgame, I am going to permaban them. That's my rules. No spoilers. It's in the rules of chat. Okay, no freaking spoilers. And it was weird because I took a fistful of throat lozenges with me to 2 Endgame, and I popped 3. I wound up not being that guy who had to leave because he was coughing too much. That's good. I think I coughed like 4 or 5 times throughout the entire film. Again, that's good. And then was deep in my geek euphoria. Got to the car, started heading home. That was when I started coughing, and I didn't stop. It was so bad that Pip had to sleep in the guest room because I was coughing and keeping her awake. I did not get a good night's sleep until last night. I think that's a fair assessment. I had basically been sick between Tuesday and Friday. And Friday I was on the mend, but I went to the doctor anyway just so I could get some meds in my system. I've got some antibiotics, so I'm working on it. But it's just been a real uphill battle this past week, and I thought, okay, well I should be good enough for Saturday. I wasn't good enough on Saturday. Okay, well then let's aim for Sunday. And this morning I woke up, I woke up and I said, pro tip, maybe if you're dizzy, you should not stream. And this is where it becomes a conversation about your personal health and the development of your Twitch channel. Which comes first? And yeah, you're probably sitting there thinking, oh, come on, T, that's a no-brainer. What are you talking about? It's an absolute no-brainer. But yeah, we do have to talk about this. And the reason we have to talk about this is because there are streamers that make it, they have to get content out. They have to push themselves to a point of where Twitch becomes almost a zero-sum game. And this is something I write about too in Twitch for Dummies. Yes, I'll get to my formal introduction in a second. I just realized I jumped on in. That's the Freud factor right there. But yeah, the thing about any kind of content creation, whether you're podcasting, whether you're streaming, since we opened it up to the open source community, if you're coding, your health is the most important thing. Period. And we still have to have this conversation because people push themselves beyond limits. You've got people that are doing 10-hour, 12-hour, 14-hour streams because they want to get those numbers. And while I think that's ambitious, while I think it's ballsy, and if you've got the time and you've got the dedication, I say go for it. But it will have a toll on you eventually. I do a 4-hour stream every day, with the exception of Thursday. And I feel like I'm pushing myself. Now, granted, I'm an old man, or an old fart, whichever one you want to call me. I'm an older dude. Okay, I'm going for what I call the Muppet exam in a few weeks. Freud says it's a huge problem in the open source software community. Many people don't want to talk about, but they should. And I think part of it, I got this vibe when I went to All Things Open last year. There was a I think his name was Henry Chu. He was one of the big voices of open source. And I lost my mind over his talk because he gave a keynote. One of the so at all Things Open, everybody gives their own keynote. It's everybody's moment in the spotlight, and it's just them. It's not a panel. It's just them in a huge room. And I believe that was the guy's name, Henry Chu. And I was kind of falling into the defensive, going, I really wonder if this is my scene, if this is really my scene. Because the two people who went on before were just praising the open sourceness of Bitcoin and how Bitcoin was going to change the world. And I'm done with Bitcoin for a lot of reasons. I'm done with Bitcoin. But then he came on, and if it isn't Henry Chu, it might be Henry Zhu. Freud, if you know who I'm talking about, feel free to correct me. But he went up there and he gave a talk about the community. And not just about the community, but about how when he first came in, the community was very open, very all very welcoming, very, very, very supportive. And then suddenly it went from supporting the community to the community asking where their support was. And he was talking about some of the things that he, some of the talks that he gave, where it was expected. He was expected to be sitting by his by his projects at all hours, at all points, waiting for the next bit of feedback to come in, so that person could get in and say, "Oh, you've handled my problem great. There's somebody else in the queue now. They need to have their problem taken care of." And it stopped being about software creation, and then if they were not tended to straight away, there would be problems. I found him. The magic of Twitter, everybody. Henry Zhu. He is Quorum DEO. He is at left_pad. Yeah, most people are not paid to be, and I'm going to go ahead and drop a link to this guy. It's twitter.com/left_pad. I love this guy's talk because it was brave, it was bold, it was truth. It was really truth. It was truth. He was basically saying, look, this is what, this was the tweet that under the code.gov, I made this tweet. At all things open, LeftPad now takes Ballroom B with hard questions for the open source community. How are we growing as a digital village? Are we so focused on code that we forget about the human element? Thought-provoking, well done, Henry. And this and the talk touched on burnout. And this is what I said last year. There's a certain kind of bravery in addressing this. It's concerned about striking the balance between contributing to open source versus quality of life. And that brings me back to how I'm relating to it, which is to the quality of life. If you are not taking care of yourself, if you are not getting enough sleep, if you're not eating right, if you're sick, but you're soldiering on because I've got to make sure that my growth is there, and that my channel is constantly growing and evolving. The thing is, you can hear right now in my voice how raw it is. This is the best my voice has sounded in about 7 days. And if I had tried to just soldier on and get in half a stream and then go back to bed or something like that, I know for a fact this sickness would have gone easily another week. And I'm not even touching on how much I lost work wise. Now, granted, I got a great team at Code. I've got a fantastic team at Code. And my boss said, "Look, you got to focus on getting better yourself. Just get better." And flip me $24 for the embroidery for your Code.cuff sweater, which I did. Excuse me. But you can kind of hear where I'm at. I honestly didn't think coming on and doing a stream while in the throes of a really, really rough of a really rough bout of whatever would be fair to you guys, because I could and what happened this morning was I got up from bed and I was awake, I was aware, but I was also dizzy. And I think the last thing I want to do is play a first-person shooter and be dizzy. Call me kooky, but I just think that's a bad combination. So what did I have? All right, that's the other thing. Taking care of yourself doesn't just mean about taking care of yourself on stream and making sure that your I's are dotted and T's are crossed when you do posts, and you make sure that you're all set and ready to go. It took me a while to get back into the swing of things. Oh, by the way, this is a new setup. I'm trying to move all of my streaming, where right now it's divided between it's right now divided between being on the Mac and being here. And so this is my first stream, and I'm trying out a new layout from Streamlabs. I kind of dig it. Of course, I'm always curious about how it sounds, how it looks, how it feels to everybody. So if you're digging it, please or if you think that we should try something different, let me know. So anyway, so what happened was last Saturday actually, I was at this event. I was at AwesomeCon, and AwesomeCon's a blast. This is in Washington D.C., and I was invited to talk and give a few talks with some buddies from Happy Hour from the Tower. And if you know Destiny and you know the podcast, yeah, I thought I told you about that, Freud. Yeah, I gave 3 talks. It was supposed to be 4 for the weekend, but then there was a scheduling conflict, so everything was on Saturday. Oh, I'm sorry you missed it, Freud. I'm sorry I missed that. But the 3 talks I gave, there was and again, this was with the Happy Hour from the Tower crew. We gave a talk on you want to create content. So we talked about both podcasting and streaming, because the guys from Happy Hour are more dedicated to the podcasting element. I'm more of the streamer within the crew. And then Nick and I, at the end of the night, we did Slightly Off Key, which is the sequel to my solo presentation, which I gave right before it, which was called the Big Score: The Evolution of the Science Fiction Soundtrack. Slightly Off Key is the same thing, but it's with Nick, and we do really good soundtracks and truly terrible films. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better, Unicorn. Thanks. I'm feeling a lot better. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about health. So it was at AwesomeCon. I got the tickly throat, and I just assumed it was because I was done. We had really spent what should have been an 8-hour day turned into an 11-hour day because there was a delay on 66 that night. But it was a long day. We got to AwesomeCon at 12:30. We got home at about midnight. I was done. I was done by the end of the day. But one of the things that I did not do, well, one of the things I did do should have been followed with something I did not do. One thing I did a lot of was shake hands, because apparently what I was talking about and the presentation behind what we were talking about was a big hit with everybody, and there was a lot of people wanted to talk to us after the panels. So panels that were normally 45 minutes, they kind of continued in the hallway for another 30 minutes. At least that's what it was with the So You Want to Create Content. And I shook a lot of hands. And after shaking hands, I should have also gone to a bathroom and washed my hands. This is not a commentary against geeks, okay? There is a running joke when you go from convention to convention that you've got to do 3-2-1. At least 3 hours of sleep, at least 2 meals a day, and at least 1 shower a day. And that's a joke, but here's the thing. There is a small amount of truth in that joke, because you are meeting a lot of people at these conventions. You are meeting a lot of people. And everybody's acceptance of hygiene varies. So, hey, no problem, Freud. If you want to catch the rest of this, it shouldn't be too late, but it shouldn't be too long of a topic. But you can always catch it in a replay. Okay, catch it in a replay or hop onto my YouTube. But thanks for hanging around, man. Thanks for hanging around, man. Good to see you. Give my best to Sasha. So anyway, so everybody's hygiene is going to vary. It's going to vary, and so it's kind of up to you to sort of pick up the slack by just making sure that you're washing your hands and you're and if you got a little bit of antibacterial, use a little bit of that as well. That's only going to help you. And the thing is, people go, well, here's another thing I do. I just don't have to shake hands. Well, the thing about con crud is con crud it can be caught by a number of things. It can be caught by a door handle. It can be caught by the freaking buttons on the elevator. I mean, there's a lot of traffic happening at conventions. But when you get to a convention like MagFest, AwesomeCon, DragonCon, all of these events have one thing in common. It is the volume of people that you get at these conventions. And what makes DragonCon, AwesomeCon, MagFest different from other conventions, like say Balticon, RavenCon, Con Carolinas, is that yeah, you can get maybe anywhere from 500 to 1,500 people at one of those events. But when the events start becoming pop culture related, or they become about topics that are of keen interest, like open source, you're now going from maybe 1,500 to anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30,000 people. DragonCon, that's a 70,000 person event, easily. That's being conservative. And I know people who have picked up con crud just by, they didn't shake anybody's hand. They were careful. They were washing their hands. And the one time that they didn't was when they were using the elevators. And they were sure. They were convinced that they'd convinced themselves they picked up something just from using the elevator keypad. It's possible. And I'm going to make the boldest. And the only reason I don't think that what I'm suffering from right now is con crud, is because usually con crud starts the next day. I mean, it's like it hits you and hits you hard. What happened with me was that I did AwesomeCon. I could feel that I needed to wash my face and wash my hands before I went to bed, and I did. The next day I had a scratchy throat, and that was about it. And I stayed on top of it because I had tickets for Endgame in 2 days. It was AwesomeCon Saturday, then Battle for Winterfell on Sunday, and then Monday night was going to be Avengers Endgame. And I got through Endgame just fine, but that was when it hit. Right after Endgame, I started coughing, and that was the way it was for the entire week. So whether this is a con crud or a variation of con crud, I call it the Wrath of Thanos because it happened after Endgame. That's the only thing I can assume. I thought I could kick it, but I went Tuesday through Friday without a good night's sleep, and that was when I went to a doctor and said, okay, let's fix this. And going to a doctor for something like this, you got to go with the open mind of like, okay, look, I'm not expecting them to have a cure out of the box. There's got to be something like maybe there's going to be maybe there will be maybe there will be some antibiotics that I can use. Maybe that will help me function. And I'm on day 3 of the antibiotics, and there's been a huge difference. Huge difference. But that's why you haven't seen me for a week. And while I know that that there are some streamers out there that would say, well, that you're going to take a hit on your subscribers, you're going to take a hit on your followers. If you really want to grow and you want to be serious about this, you've just got to power on through. So here's the weird thing that happened with me and my followers. I don't know how this happened. My subs actually stayed put, and I know that a lot of the reasons why some people haven't why I haven't completely recovered my subs from March is because there are a lot of people who didn't resub when they got back, and my subs took a hit. And I'll talk a little bit about that later on in this stream too. But weirdly enough, my followers went up. I actually had a spike in my followers, and I have no clue what brought that on. I'm going to assume it was Awesome Con and talking about this book. I'm going to make that bold assumption right now. But speaking of this book, there was a quote that I took. Let me see if I can find it. They either put them under B for Broman or P for Professor. Let's find out. Broadcast, no Broman. So that means they put them under... Just making sure. Yep. So it'd be under P for Professor. You would think I would know this book inside and out, but that's not how For Dummies books work. There's a lot happening in these books. Power GPU, privacy, Professor Broman. 121. I believe that's where I talked about it. And if that seems kind of early. That seems kind of early. No, here it is. Lure of the Long Stream. And let's see. Professor Broman, a sexual streamer, wrote about this in 2017, and his words still remain relevant today. Long streams. Oh, this is about long streams. It's the lure of the long stream. Yeah. I could have swore I mentioned that article someplace else too, but the point I'm getting at is that if you want to grind yourself hard into the ground, you can, but that's going to take a toll. That's going to take a bigger toll on your stream. A friend of the stream, She Snaps, delightful streamer, love her dearly. She Snaps was talking about how. In an interview with me, she was talking about how she was doing the long grind. It was affecting her eating habits. It was affecting her digestive tract. I mean, it was taking a hard toll on her body, and she thought that was natural. She thought that was normal. And then she suddenly found out from another streamer, oh wait, you mean my body isn't supposed to be acting this way? And that's when she started making a special discipline specifically for her, where she would be like, look, I'm just going to focus on just doing, solid 8-hour streams. And that's only if I can afford it. Drafty, how are you, sir? Thanks for joining me on this Hangout stream. Do appreciate it. I knew that if I tried... Sorry. Drafty was there with me yesterday. When I came on just for 2 hours. And I don't know if Drafty could hear it in my voice or not, but... I hit a wall yesterday while I was on with him, and I was like, yeah, I think it's time I went back to bed. And I'm pretty sure that was what I did. Like I said, this whole week has been a blur of me getting to bed and staying in bed and then trying to function and trying to have a life while still trying to get enough sleep and get my sleep schedules back on gear. But had I tried to soldier on through, I really believe that would have done a worse... Because who wants to watch somebody soldier on through a video game and a stream when they're sick? You've got to be good to yourself. You've got to take care of yourself. And even if you're not sick, there are only a few people I know who could function on a handful of hours of sleep. Now, if your body's been trained that way, and you're able to somehow manage it, then more power to you. I admire that ability. But for me, I have to get, and this is still way under the recommended average, but if I start getting less than 6 hours of sleep, I'm a mess. I can't focus. I can't do much of anything. So that's something I have to be very aware of, and I've been, and you're right. Yeah, I know. I needed to rest. I needed to get better. But what I'm trying to address is that was I worried at any point in this past week? Was I worried at any point about my numbers? The answer is no. Because my thoughts were, you know what? Numbers statistics, they change from day to day. I mean, 1 minute, a poll will say that people love the job the current administration is doing. Next day, you'll see a poll and it'll say that they hate the direction the administration is going. You know what? They're numbers, they're statistics, and they are subject to change. And I remember there was an article about Ninja, and he had gone on vacation. Like, first vacation he had taken since he hit 1 million subscribers, if I remember correctly. 1 million subscribers? Yes, 1 million subscribers. And he lost like 25,000, I think it was. And people asked, how do you feel about that? You just lost 25,000 subscribers. How do you feel about that? And he just shrugged and he said, well, I guess I got to get back to work. And I will be honest with you, Unicorn. If I was doing this for the numbers, and I know I've met a couple of streamers that focus on nothing but the numbers, and it's because they are looking at it as their sole source of income, as their job. Do I look at this as a job? I feel like it's related to my job. I'm a writer, and I write books, and I need to promote these books, and this is one of the places I promote them. But the thing is that I have fun doing this, and I know that me streaming sick would be zero fun. I will tell you this, though. It was the hardest decision for me to not stream because I was just missing it. I was missing all this time. I love streaming. I love doing this. And that was kind of frustrating because I wanted to get back into the chair. I wanted to get back in my captain's chair. I wanted to, hit it hard, come back and start gaming again. Well, now, mentally sick or physically sick. Now, I know you're being you, Drafty, but let's talk about mental health, shall we? If you're not in a good mental place, I wouldn't say streaming is your best option, because you might go off on somebody that you don't mean to go off on. You might be in a bad place. I have been really short-tempered these past 2 months, March and April, and I feel bad about that. And for me, I was working through some stuff in my head. I was working through some stuff. It was the first year anniversary of my dad's death. And hey, Benedict, come on up here if you want. You can come up here. You can. I was working through that, and Snaps talks a lot on her stream about mental health issues. I don't think I have the background or the expertise to go that deep the way she does. And if you ever catch her talking about mental health issues, it's pretty powerful stuff. And I love that about her stream. Thanks, Benedict. Thanks for that drive-by. But I do think that if you've got some mental issues, or if there are things emotionally going on with you that you need to step away from a stream, yes, you need to. Speaking about my dad's death, when that happened, I had to step away for at least a week. And I put something on my channel. I put a poster art that said, I am taking a break. I gotta say goodbye to my dad, and then I'll be back on stream. And that was what I did. I waited until after the service, and I gave myself a week. Now everybody deals with grief differently. When I lost my dad, Dr. Lupo lost his father like 4 days later, and I happened to see him tweet it, and then the next day he was back on. But he made it clear. He said, I'm not talking about it. I'm not paying attention to chat. I'm just going to play. Now, I admire the fact that he went back on. I mean, his chat was just lit. It was absolutely lit with people expressing their condolences and wishing him best. It was just there were his mods were on it. If there were any trolls, they never popped up their ugly heads. It was just nothing but an outpouring of support. I got the same thing when I made the announcement on Twitter that my dad was gone, and I just needed to step away for a little bit. And yeah, the Twitch community came out and they talked to me on Twitter because they knew that I was offline. And when I came back on, it was like no time passed. People stepped up. They were like, "We've been thinking about you, been praying about you." And I think that break for me was important. I think when it comes to mental health, this is exactly. And that's the thing, Drafty. There are people on Twitch that you can count on to step up and say, "I've been thinking about you, buddy. I hope you're well. Take care of yourself." That sort of thing. It's that contact, that hug can go a long way. And if you can't be there when you hug somebody, I mean, case in point, ZG Photo. Good guy, ZG Photo, probably one of the best. And watching what he went through, that was really tough. It was really tough watching him go through that because it was a slow burn, but he was mentally ready to handle it. But he still took a break when he needed to. And I think that's important. He would just say, "I got to step away." Doesn't mean that everybody has to step away when because no one is going to be able to judge your emotional or physical or mental state better than you. And if you're creating content, if you're coming online, if you're opening your life up to a worldwide audience, whether it's 4, whether it's 40, whether it's 400, there is a sense of vulnerability there. And if you think I'm good, I got this, I can go on ahead and do this, you just need to be careful about it, because physically, when you're not up to snuff to be able to you can easily say, "Oh no, I'm getting a dizzy spell when I'm standing up. Maybe I shouldn't stream a first person shooter." That's easy to diagnose, but emotional or mental a mental break, you might have to get a second opinion or even a third. But the one thing you don't want to do is bring that emotional or mental baggage with you on the stream. And I'm not in any way trivializing or belittling mental health by describing it as baggage. Maybe that was the wrong word to use. That payload, I think, might be a better word here. The real tough thing is, you may think, "Well, I've got my act together. I'm ready to go ahead and jump on," and then you discover within a few minutes this was kind of a mistake. You don't want to be snapping at people. You don't want to be lashing out. You don't want to be. You don't want to take out whatever frustrations you may have, emotionally or mentally, out on others. That's when you need to go and seek advice, seek professional advice, get some help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help, and there's nothing wrong with stepping away from your stream if you think your stream and the quality of content that you're creating is in jeopardy because of where you are emotionally or mentally. I truly believe that. Do I have any magic indicators? Do I have any like checklists that you need to go through for personal health, for mental health, for emotional health? I hate to say it, but I don't, because everybody's different. Everybody is different, and what you have to find out is where that threshold is for you. And that can be a really hard evaluation to make. Physically, not so much, because it's kind of obvious, Mental and emotional health, yeah, that's where it gets a little harder. That's where it gets a little harder, and that's where you, as a content creator, as a streamer, have to decide: should I should I create the next thing? Should I go on the next stream? Should I create the next podcast? And that gets to be a harder judgment call to make, because you can be kind of biased about yourself. I got this. It's okay. I got this. And you might not. But just remember, there's nothing wrong with asking for help, and there's nothing wrong with just taking a moment for yourself. Even if you have, you can put together some quick poster art and put that up on your as your still screen on your Twitch channel. It just says, "Look, I need to take a break. I need to step away from chat. There's some things I have to sort through," and that's how you leave it. You don't have to go into detail. Twitch is not your confessional. You share as much as you want to share, and that goes back into all different levels of health. When you're creating content and when you're creating the atmosphere that you are on your channel, what are people wanting? What are people expecting? And Drafty made the earlier comment: mentally sick or physically sick. And again, I know Drafty, and I know he loves to have a go at me. Sometimes, yes, my mental capacity can be that of a 5-year-old, and my mental health is shot. I can be sick. I can be deranged, especially after I get a few rounds of beer in me. That's a different story altogether. But Drafty does still bring up, even with his snark, he brings up a very important aspect to anybody that's taking part in the community. Going back to when I started the stream, and I was not only talking about content creators or Twitch streamers, but I'm also talking about people in the open source community. When you're dealing with the public, you need to make sure that you've got the wherewithal to handle the public and to interact with them, to talk to them, and if you're not 100% in, maybe you can get by with 90%. Maybe you can get by at 80%. But when you start falling under 60%, especially when you get into 50-50, that's when it becomes a dice roll. And you have to ask yourself, okay, am I at a good headspace, and am I at a good physical space that I can go on ahead and stream? And physical health doesn't also limit itself to when you're sick. I have to seriously look at my lifestyle now because I'm visiting a trainer. And this is where I start to put it out there. For the first time in my life, and I've made it 50 years, so that's not too shabby, but this is the first time in my life that I've weighed over 200 pounds. I put on a lot of weight in the past 2 years, and I think a lot of it is not just my exercise routine, which has been intermittent to say the least, but it's also been the amount of stress in my life. One of the reasons I love streaming so much is that it guarantees me time to sit and just enjoy a good video game. Whether it's Destiny, whether it's Tomb Raider, whether it's BioShock, I'm having fun. And then I add in the element of people. People like Drafty, people like Unicorn, people coming into stream that I have never met. And then they become regulars on the stream, which is a great feeling, a great experience, great way of saying, oh, wow, my community is starting to grow. All that has been sort of a saving grace compared to the other stuff that was happening in my life. I was stuck in a job that I really didn't care for. There was my dad, passing away. Then there was being told that I was being in a job that I didn't care for, suddenly being told that I was being made redundant. And everything that I had built in the past 4 years, they managed to completely dismantle within 3 months of me leaving. That's a special level of hell. that defies description. Thing is, I got through it, but then I had to add on a different kind of commute. I had to completely change my lifestyle, completely change the way that I was doing things, and all that kind of crept up on me in the health department. And so I have to now really look at my lifestyle and go, okay, what do I need to do to change this? And I'm taking the right steps. I'm actually trying to take care of myself from a completely physical, point of view, not just in working out, not just in seeing a trainer, but also in looking at what I'm eating. And what has been sort of the clue in factor for me is that I've still managed to put on weight, but I'm not drinking beer like I used to drink. Like when Drafty met me, I'm pretty sure I was about 30 pounds lighter when he met me, and that's a big jump. That is a big jump. So I have to sort that out, and I've got to figure out what I'm doing wrong. What am I putting into my body that's not supposed to be going into my body? And that opens me up for a lot of really, really bad jokes and some inappropriate comments. So I'm just going to wait for that to sort of settle when I. But I am taking steps into remedying my routines outside of gaming. Giggity. I knew that. Thank you for that. And that was when T died on his stream, thanks to Drafty. But oh man, but you get the idea. I'm taking those steps, and I have to at 50. I don't think I mean I've seen people in much worse physical shape than me, and they're younger than me. And I've prided myself on trying to take care of myself, but being over 200 for me is unacceptable. Being at 199 is unacceptable. I have a fair enough goal, and that could get frustrating too when you feel like you're taking steps to take care of yourself and then you get sick. But here's the thing, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to talk to my trainer on Tuesday and say, look, this is what happened. I don't want to lose the momentum. I'm here. Let's get to it. And it's you don't want to necessarily burn yourself out. You don't want to necessarily push yourself so hard that you're going to push yourself so hard that you're going to you're just going to get yourself sick again. Obviously. But all these little things, all these little things all feed back to your feed back to your podcast, your Twitch stream, your YouTube channel, wherever you are creating content. It's no different than being a musician, no different than being a gamer. I mean, yes, gamers are notorious for energy drinks and for really pushing themselves, hard in tournaments and stuff. But the thing is that if they're not mentally and physically solid, it's going to be a heck of a crash when they come off it. So you really do, it sounds trite, but when they say your body is a temple, yeah, it is. You got to take care. It's like taking care of the planet. You've got this body. Unlike in Star Trek Discovery, where apparently you can graft personalities onto other people, you still have. This is your one-stop shop right here, and you got to take care of it. But as I like to tell people, if my body is indeed a temple, it is currently under renovation. For historical preservation. So, first off, everybody, good evening. I jumped into our conversation. I jumped into this conversation an hour ago, and I've been going strong. I wanted to try out a new layout. I'm trying out a new approach to this sort of casual stream, just so I can see if I can move as much of my streaming. There's currently some streaming I do from the Mac. Eventually, I would like to move everything over here to the Origin PC side of things, because when people see us do Happy Hour from the Tower Live or the Shared Desk Live, people automatically notice a difference in the smoothness of the stream. It's not so bad when it's me and Pip, but when it's me and the guys, and we're bringing in Obi from that includes bringing in Obi remotely, I've been told that really has an effect on the overall stream. And I'd like to see if moving everything over to the PC side, since it's obviously a newer machine, will that have a difference? But for those of you just joining, you are watching the Tea Monster. This is my Sunday special, which I've been trying to do once or twice a month, and failing at, because March was a crazy month, and April wound up being a little hectic too. But this is a Tea on Twitch. I'm the author of Twitch for Dummies, and if people are wondering, well, how did this guy get the ability to do Twitch for Dummies? It's because of my previous book, Podcasting for Dummies. I've done both of these books with the For Dummies people. They're actually honest to God For Dummies books. They're available in bookstores everywhere, so go ahead and check them out when you get a chance. I'm coming up on my 3rd year as a streamer. Wow, it's really been 3 years. 3 years streaming. Whew. It's crazy. And I also write fiction. I write fiction with my wife. I write steampunk with her. If you want to find out more about that series, that is right here. And one of the things I've been talking about on this stream has been about content creation and talking about your own health. And I've been talking about health issues, and how it has an effect on your stream. As you can hear, my voice, I still sound a little raw, and that is because I'm recovering from a bad case of con crud, or as I call it, the Wrath of Thanos. I have been working on getting over this, and I lost an entire week's worth of streaming. Normally I stream Sunday through I stream every day of the week except Thursday. I may be adding for mental and physical reasons. I may be adding a new day where I'm dark. I just can't decide which day that I want to make that, either Sunday or Monday. But I usually stream every morning, with the exception of Thursdays, from 5 a.m. to roughly 8:30, 9 o'clock. That is the best time to catch me streaming and doing what I normally do. But on occasion, I'll do a Sunday special. The Sunday special can be everything from podcasting live. It can also be a podcast with my wife. It can also be Philippa's Freaky Friday, and there's also another special stream I do called Blind Leading the Blind, where I Sherpa my buddy Steve Saylor, who is legally blind. I Sherpa him through Destiny, and we've been having a good time with that. We're actually coming up, I think, on our year anniversary of doing that, and it has been an absolute blast to do. And then there are Sunday specials like this one, where I just go ahead and I talk about content creation. I talk about any questions you may have from the book, Twitch for Dummies or Podcasting for Dummies. If you're curious as to the experience that I bring to the table, I've been podcasting since 2005. I'm one of the original podcasters. I was the first I was the first author to take his book and podcast it from cover to cover. It was a chapter at a time. And that book was called Moravia. The podcast is also called Moravia. I believe it is still out there floating around somewhere, and you can still have a listen to it. But it was really funny. Within the first month of me podcasting that book, I had gotten roughly 3 or 4 episodes out, and then we were contacted by another author named Mark Jeffrey, and then contacted again by another author named Scott Sigler. That's now New York Times bestselling Scott Sigler. And the three of us were kind of the original vanguard of podcasting authors. And that's where we coined the phrase podiobooks. As opposed to audiobooks, they're podiobooks. They're podcast novels. And from there, myself, Evo Terra, and a guy named Chris Miller, we launched a site back in 2006 called, well, no, I take that back. It was in 2005. We launched in late 2005. It was a website called podiobooks.com. And that was literally the wild, wild west of podcasting. It is really funny how podcasts have sort of evolved from being a what are you doing now to this is something geeks do in the basement of the science building, and if you're not careful, you can lose your broadcasting cred and go into podcasting, to now, well, what's your podcast, to becoming a plot device in the recent Twilight Zone. Just quick trivia. The new Twilight Zone, where Jordan Peele is the host, they did not necessarily a reboot, but a retelling of Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, the infamous episode with Shatner being Shatner from the original Twilight Zone, and they retold it, and they called it Nightmare at 30,000 Feet. What was cool about it was this guy was listening to a podcast, and it was about the flight he was on. And there were all these things that were supposedly going wrong on this flight. And I'm not going to give you anything else about it because I don't want to give it away. But the deeper he got into the podcast, the worse the flight became. It was quite cool. It was quite cool. And the folks at the new Twilight Zone, they did their homework, because the fictional podcast they created, they actually got a guy who sounded like Aaron Menke from the podcast Lore. That's a pretty fun podcast, Lore. It's not one of my favorites, but I understand why it became so popular. Lore it's just a good time. It's a good time. It's great storytelling. So if you haven't checked out Lore, you should. But listen to a couple episodes of Lore, then go and watch the new Twilight Zone episode, Nightmare at 30,000 Feet. And you can tell they were paying homage to Lore. It was very cool. So if you all have any questions or comments about my stream, about Twitch for Dummies, podcasting for Dummies, or just content creation in general, by all means, go on ahead, jump in, say hi, and ask away, because that's why I'm here. It's always amazing to me seeing all these really good streamers popping on, and I'm just like, oof. It's very intimidating. But that was actually something that I got asked at AwesomeCon. Somebody asked, how do you get your numbers up? They just threw it out there. How do I get my numbers consistently growing and consistently heading upwards? And I gave him a dose of truthiness, as Stephen Colbert would say. I really think that it's a matter. It's several things. It's which stream do you want questions about? See, there's Drafty. There's the Drafty that I know. Thank you, Drafty. He's here to help everybody. He's here to help. One of the things that I did say, and it was kind of ironic after I gave this nugget of advice, I wound up going dark for a week because I'm sick. But it was about consistency. If people, it's like, and I remember the guy who originally got me into Twitch, a guy named by the name of Matt Drake. Oh yeah, of course, Drafty. Of course, you have to be your smart ass self. Totally, I get that. But he gave a great analogy. He said, think of yourself as your favorite TV show, team. I'm like, okay. He goes, now, think of what would happen if that TV show said it would be on at this specific time, but then wasn't. But in fact was on an hour earlier or an hour later. And then once you get used to that, suddenly they go back to another to another stream or another time. And they're constantly changing when they go live. The question is, how do you follow that as a follower or as a sub? And the thing is, you either have faith in that content creator that they will be online and they will deliver in the content that they're promising, or if they're a new streamer, you just throw the dice and see where it goes. And people want to be able to find you. People want your content. People want to be able to set their watch and go, okay, I know that at this time T's going to stream, because I know at this time this streamer's going to go live, and I just want to make sure that I plan my day accordingly. So that's one of the things that I think is important, is consistency. The other thing is quality of content. What are you streaming? What does your stream bring to Twitch? What does your stream promise? What do they bring that sets their stream apart from other people's streams? And that's where it gets even harder. But the truth is, people tune in to a stream to see the host. It's different from host to host to host because, of course, you got some streamers like Lupo where you basically pop in to watch him play. Lupo is amazing to watch. He is a machine, and I love watching Lupo when I have nothing else to do. If I have nothing else to do, I will put on Lupo because I know that I'm just going to watch and go, holy cow, how is he doing that? I can't watch Lupo to chill out to. If I need if I need to relax, or if I just need to have something playing in the background, it's not going to be Lupo, because I want to see what he's doing. And when he does make comments, it's great watching. It's great. It's great. And the other reason you watch Lupo is for the unexpected little things that happen throughout his stream. There's a clip of him that is pure comedy gold. He's doing his thing, he's playing Fortnite as he does, and suddenly you hear this little voice, and it's his kid, and his kid's awake, and he's like, "What's up, buddy? What are you doing out of bed?" And the comedy comes from him going, "Yeah, okay, hey, I'll give you hugs. Just give Daddy 1 second." And then literally within 1 minute, he takes out the rest of the team, gets the victory royale, and he goes, "Oh, hey, buddy, come on, give your Daddy a hug." And that is just comedy gold right there. But you do watch people like Lupo, Ninja, et al. You watch them because they have the incredible plays. And not only do they have incredible plays, they also have the ability of getting other people in their gaming session that also add a huge amount of entertainment value. Then you got streamers like me, and I make no bones about it. It's all in how I introduce myself to people. I'm not a gamer that happens to write. I'm a writer that happens to game. And when you set that out there, you're like, okay, I am not watching T. Morris for his vicious plays. I want to know if he's going to make that platform. I want to know if he is going to be able to make that jump, because over-under saying that he may not make that jump. I think because of the pressure of Twitch and of streaming my games, I have become a better jumper in Destiny. I will say that. I'll also say, and I actually have proof of this, because some people actually tuned in to watch the carnage, and I wound up doing pretty well. But on mouse and keyboard, I wind up being better on mouse and keyboard than I am on console. which I'm still kind of trying to process because I never picture myself a PC gamer. Make that jump. Yeah, you say that, Drafty, but here's the thing. On PC, it is rare if I screw up a jump. It is rare. But on console, yes, it's a dice roll. And I have progressively gotten better because of the pressure of actually streaming my gaming content. And I totally embrace that. I totally embrace that people come in to watch me fail. And then they wind up either going, wow, this guy's got potato aim, he sucks. Or, oh, I know how long you and Marv were patiently waiting. I get that. But keep in mind, when was that? That was not... No, that was recently, wasn't it? Yep, never mind. I take it back. I didn't say that I was at God level like you and Marv. I'm saying that I have gotten better. Considering that I started down here and I'm now marginally better, I think that helps. The other thing, keep in mind too, if I think you and I think the three of us, weren't we doing it? We were doing the Shattered Throne. If I remember correctly, that was my third time going through the Shattered Throne. I still don't know how to navigate that first part of the dungeon. I make no bones about it. But again, people watch me fail. Ah, there it is. And just not a warlock. You do not warlock. I know you do not warlock. But again, people have one of two reactions. They either drop an insult and they split, or they stick around because they want to see if I can get better. And I really do think, and I've seen it in other people, as much as you and Marv, as long as you and Marv had to wait, one of my takeaways from that is that both you and Marv at least are patient with me because you know that I will do everything that I can to try and get things done. I will not give up, and I will try. I always try to learn. I always try to grow as a player, and I think that's why people want to watch. And I was going to save this for tomorrow's full stream, but I think I'm going to do it now. One good thing that happened, one good thing that happened while I was sick last week was this. This arrived, and if you're wondering what this is that. I finally got my Wayfarer pin, and man, is it gorgeous! It's beautiful, and now I really want to get back into I really want to get back into Shattered Throne because I'm one item away. I'm one item away from getting Cursebreaker, and once I get Cursebreaker and this, I think the hard grind for emblems will be done. A man's got to know his limitations, and I know that with a lot of the other badges that are involved, the only one that I'm kind of within spitting distance of is Dredgen. It is tempting to go after Dredgen, but that is a hard grind through Gambit. I don't mind Gambit. I think Gambit's a lot of fun. I have a great time in Gambit. I have a great time in Gambit when I get to wear my gear. That's more for Gambit Prime than Gambit, though. And I love the Reckoning. The Reckoning is so much damn fun. To me, the Reckoning is like, it's like an advanced version of Archon's Forge, and as much as I bust your balls, I appreciate you and your lack of salt blaming the game. You know, wow, that kind of diverts from the topic at hand, but yeah, I do. There's a difference between playing a broken game and playing a game where you just aren't there yet, and you've got to work a little harder. I'll give a perfect example of that. So Destiny, right? I played Destiny on this stream, and And I feel like when I sometimes really get deep into something drafty, when I get really deep into a Shattered Throne, giggity, or some kind of Ascended challenge, I get laser focused, because I know that if I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, I will make a mistake, and of course, we'll have to start from the beginning again, or however you work it. But there was a game I was playing called The Order 1886. I think I was playing it before you and I met. And The Order 1886 was truly a game that I could blame the game for me being unable to complete certain challenges. The mechanics of the game were irrevocably broken. They oh my god, they weren't even broken. They were just they were decimated. They were in pieces. It was shattered. It was a mess. And and I had friends who were watching me play. They weren't even playing, and they were ready to take their controllers and throw them against the wall because they were that pissed at the game. And they weren't even playing. They were watching me play. And it reached a point where I actually held it. I said, chat, watch this. And I would have the controllers, and they would watch me do the controls, and they would watch me die, and they would go, wait a minute, that wasn't supposed to happen that way. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But for whatever reason, I only get angry at the game when I feel like I feel like that I get angry at I get more angry at myself than I do at Destiny. But I get angry at a game when I feel like the mechanic is just really that uber dicey, or if it feels like it's an unfair mechanic. You know, it's like wait, what do you mean I can't do XYZ? Oh wait, now I can't do this when earlier I could do this, you know? And that rarely happens in Destiny. My biggest problem with Destiny is timing. And that's what I think I've come to figure out, especially when it comes to the Warlock jumps. And I think it's one of the reasons why people hate the Warlock jump so much, because it's one of the hardest jump mechanics in the game. I mean, it's real simple. With Titans, you jump, and then when you jump that second time, that's when you get the little bit of the Titan skate, not D1 Titan skate, but close to it. With a Hunter, piece of cake. You just jump, and jump, and you just go up, up, up. With a Warlock, man, because there have been times where I've been falling, and then I'll hit my jump, and then it'll kick in, and I slowly float to the bottom. Then there are other times where I'll be falling. I'll hit jump, and nothing happens, and I'm like, where's that other jump? It should be there. And I can only assume that there is a certain point when you're doing a free fall in the game that you just reach terminal velocity, and there's nothing that's going to stop you. That is the only thing I can assume. And the reason I feel like I struggle with jump mechanics is because I learned them very late in the game. When I was first, I was just recently thinking about this. I think it had something to do with me doing the Thunderlord quest again and describing to people who had never done the Thunderlord quest. I was telling them about the earlier days of D1 and things like that. And I realized how little I had taken time to find out on my own that there were jump mechanics. There were videos about the jump mechanics, and I didn't find these until after playing Destiny for almost a year. So I've had a lot to learn, and I still feel like I got a lot to learn. But as you said, Drafty, I always strive to do better. I want to improve, and it's when I see myself starting to fall backwards, that's when I get uptight. So for those of you just joining us, thanks for joining us. We are Shav depends on how much of the glide you have used when you hit it in free fall. If you use none, then you will get the glide. If you have used it, then you won't get any. And you see, that's the thing, Shav. I haven't used. There were times when I'm in free fall and I haven't hit the glide at all. And I'm free falling. I hit the glide, or I hit the X the second time. Nothing happens. But Shav, good to see you, man. Good to see you. I was thinking about you a lot during Avengers Endgame. You've shared some great stories with me from your experience working on those sets. So I know you didn't work on Endgame, but I'm just talking about in general. But I don't know if you've had a chance to see Endgame. I hope you found it. Yes, it was. It was very, very, very good. And that's all we're going to say. We're not going to be doing any spoilers or anything like that. That actually wasn't what I came on to talk about. I wanted to see if I could steer back to that. So your health, when it comes to content creation of any kind, it does matter. But the question is, okay, so let's say you've gone through the week that I've gone through, and you've missed a week. What do? Well, honestly, you can do just about anything. You can go ahead and put posts in your most trusted channels, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Discord, whether it's all three, and just put up a message that says, "This isn't happening today. I'm going to give it a shot tomorrow." And that is my current plan. I'm going to be back here 5 a.m. Monday, and I will probably do mouse and keyboard. I'll probably go ahead and do mouse and keyboard for a couple reasons. One, if I picked a week to be sick, this was a good week to be sick, because I was a week behind with everybody on the invitation of the 9. Turns out that is broken, and it didn't get a fix this go around, but it will get a fix. From what I understand, it will get a fix the next reset. The fix being that the invitation for the 9 was you have to get certain raw materials and then go on a strike. And you're right. Well, I'm getting to that, Chef. Yeah, I'm getting to that. But I picked a good week to be sick because that was the challenge I was up for. And unfortunately, it's a little hard to find Vex in the Tangled Shore. You could go on the strike, but apparently that strike doesn't count towards the samples that you need to collect to get to the next Trials of the 9. So that's really the only thing that I was going to focus on this week. I'm basically right now I'm just biding time until the Shattered Throne, because damn it all, I want to get that ship. Now I could bring back my Hunter and start having him go through Forsaken, but I also need to find some time to play Destiny on the PC, because I love playing Destiny on PC. I get a chance to run with Shav, which is always fun. I get a chance to show off my better jumping skills, which Shav can attest. I will never forget, Shav, just so you know, I will never forget the shock in your voice when you said to me, "You're actually doing really good, T." So, I will always have that memory. But as far as what we were talking about with health, you approach content creation and getting numbers that you may have lost. Yes. Oh, that's right. I remember you telling me about that. The one that I got when I jumped in to help Polar clear it when she died on the flawless line. I remember that. What is that emote? Tiddly. That's a tiddly emote. I should have known that was a tiddly emote. Oh, Shav. Oh, Polar. Bum bum. There he is. How you doing, Marv? If your ears were burning, your name might have come up in conversation. Now the gang's all here. It's nice to have everybody here. But I did. I picked a good week to be sick. You haven't done anything. You haven't. You're fine. But now I was talking about the importance of health as a content creator, whether it's creating content on a stream, whether it's podcasting, or whether it's I even opened up any further and talked about, because very briefly, I had in stream, I had my buddy Froy, who used to work with me at code.gov, and he is deeply entrenched in the open source software community. And in fact, his stream is just him coding. And he codes with projects still, even though he's not with code.gov. He still shows support by doing pull requests on stream with code. And what I was talking about was that, yeah, I lost an entire week streaming. And the thing is maybe my subs didn't go up like I wanted to. Maybe I didn't hit any goals because I wasn't streaming. But the thing is, I didn't want to try and power on through what was slowing me down. And even with the promise of me coming on this morning and not coming through, that was a last minute decision. Because pro tip, if you get out of bed and you're going to splash some water in your face and go stream, and you do that and you're still dizzy, maybe doing a first-person shooter and you're dizzy is not a good combination. And I expanded it to not just talk about, about this topic of health, whether it's we expanded it too because of of an originally snarky comment from Drafty. We expanded it to not only include physical health, but mental and emotional health as well. All these things play into the quality of stream that you're going to create. But when you lose that time, well, yeah, it's real simple. It's no different than taking care of yourself physically. I could say, well, I just lost all my momentum. I'm not going to worry about it. Screw it. I'll just shut it down. I'll get back to it when I get back to it. That's one thing you can do. But one thing you can do, one thing you can do is you can basically pick up where you left off. You can pick up where you left off. Yeah, and I mean, and I personally think that mental and emotional health is the toughest thing to judge. Because physically you can tell. This is the best my voice has sounded in a week. Wednesday, Thursday, there was no way. Cute. You want to rephrase that? Let's go ahead and time you out there, buddy. Oh, and deleted by the moderator. There you go. Thank you, mods. Thank you, Shav. Thank you. I got 3 mods in my chat. There you go. So deleted and timed out. There we go. Try that again, C. Neville. No, seriously. You can try again to chat. But be cool. Thank you. And come and join us on Discord if you want. But if you want me to block you there too, I will. Read the rules. Don't be a dick. And thank you. So going back to what I was saying, mental and emotional health, I think, is the toughest thing to evaluate. But here's the thing: if you trip up, if you lose a week, if you take a break, what you should be doing. Dang. Well, there you go. Okay. Well, the big Marvinsky has spoken. The big Marvinsky abides. Mazel tov. So going back to what I was going to say, it's the hardest thing for you to evaluate your mental and your emotional state of mind. But if you have a bad stream, here's what you do: you turn around, you get back on. If you really enjoy doing this, if you sincerely enjoy doing what we do, then yeah, get back on and just stream. I can only speak from my personal experiences, but I've had some bad streams in my experience in my time on Twitch. And what I define as bad streams is when I'm not good to my community, when I'm not and when I'm punchy, I'm angry, I'm snippy. Okay, then you know what? And real quick, as a quick diversion, this is where you turn the reins over to your mods. Now, Monkey, you're wearing pants. To me, that is not being controversial. That is an accomplishment. So thank you, Monkey, for wearing pants. It's an optional thing on here. It's an optional thing on this stream. If you want to wear pants, hey, peace, more power to you. But you're not gonna get permabanned for that. But I'm with Marv. If Marv says no, we're not going to give that guy a second shot, then we're not going to give that guy a second shot. So sorry, C Neville. You can go on ahead and create another profile as one wants to do. Just remember, you're going to have to deal with my mods, and my mods will make that call. And see, we're also a very supportive stream here. See, you're getting love from the UK. So for getting pants on. So good on you, man. But but if you I remember someone said I rage quit on stream, and I don't define what I did as rage quitting. When I rage quit, that's when I just go, I'm out, I'm done, boom, and I say no goodbyes. But there was this one particular stream where I felt like the two people I had invited into my chat, they were being a little domineering, and they were kind of hijacking the stream for their own means, and they were making some comments about my at that time skill, and it was getting a little testy. And I tried to find a nice way out, but then they kept writing that same joke with me. And I finally said, you know what, guys? I think I'm done. It's been great. I got to go. Talk to you later. And I ended chat. Then I came back on the stream and I said, yep, it's time for me to go to work. I don't like ending a stream feeling this way, but that's the way it is. And both of them contacted me and said, what's with the rage quitting? And to me, rage quitting is just pulling the plug and you're out. At least I had the wherewithal to say my goodbyes, but I do think that when you're, I do think that when you are at a bad spot and you either end your stream abruptly or you're just ending the stream on a negative note, that's hard to come back from. I prefer the kind of streams where, and I know I've had streams like this with Shav before, and with Marv, with Obi, with Jen, where the regulars are all in house, and we are just cracking jokes, and our faces hurt from laughing so much. Those are the streams I live for, and those are the streams that I strive for, especially after having a bad stream. And that's the way I feel like you as a content creator should look at that. It's like, yes, you're going to have some setbacks. Life happens. But whether it's a bad personal day, whether it's a bad physical health day, a bad mental health day, a bad emotional health day, you have to stop and ask yourself, okay, am I in a good place to stream? And if you are, stream. If you've decided that this is not for you, then that's okay too. But I know that for my own as long as someone when I'm on can make me chuckle, it's a good absolute. And yeah, you're right. Yeah, I know, Marv. I know. Oh my God, truth. Whenever Shav comes in and trolls me, that just makes me grin. That just makes me grin to from one ear to the next. That's a good time. That's a good time. And I'll tell you another thing that I don't mind confessing here. When I get on the PC, that's when I cross my fingers that Shav will reach out to me, and then we get to run together, because I know Shav prefers PC over console. He'll slum if there's enough of us around. He'll slum on console, but I think Shav was also talking about no, Unicorn, you don't troll everyone. You are that dyed in the wool you're that dyed in the wool fan. And Monkey, I'm thrilled that I inspire you to do more in the mornings. Like get into pants for one thing. That's good to know. But and just remember, folks, it's always better to get into your pants first before you try to get into someone else's pants. The PS4 is gone. Got it. But the thing is, whenever Shav pings me when I'm on PC and goes, "All right, what are we doing today, T?" That just gets me excited because I respect the level that Shav's at, and the fact that he wants to help me become a better PC player. Yeah, I dig that. But the important thing is that you've got to come back. You got to come back from it. That break you take may mean the break. Yeah, pants are optional. Exactly. See, Unicorn, he's a regular. He knows pants are optional in here. Now the big question: am I wearing pants now? Giggity. Okay. You do, Chef. That's one thing I haven't done a lot of on my PC character. I've not taken her into Gambit or Gambit Prime, and I need to do that. Well, chest up. Fortunately, did you want to come up here? You can come up here, Benedict. But turning it around to some other kind of content creation, not just Twitch but podcasting. It was my intent to have last week a newsreader rules, absolutely. It was my intent last week to have this interview from Brandon O'Neill up and out there for the podcast, and of course because I couldn't do anything, that didn't happen. So what does that mean? Does that mean I just chuck it in? Because the one thing I hate when I'm doing podcasts are these gaps in between. But I've also got to look at it from a realistic point of view. Is it easier for me to produce 2 podcasts in 1 week, or is it best to do what I've been doing where, thank you, Benedict, where 1 week, Happy Hour from the Tower goes out. Next week, the Shared Desk goes out. And if I can alternate like that back and forth, perfect. That is exactly what I need to make it happen. So what do? I'm just going to have to reset. And then this week, it's going to be Happy Hour. Next week, it's going to be Shared Desk. Because that interview with Brandon O'Neill was a blast. It was an absolute blast. And I really want to share that with you guys. I matched Slash and his team today. I was with Blue Dots and beat them 16 Guardian kills, 70 enemy kills. Nicely done, Shav. Yeah, I think my record for now this is on PC. On PS4. I think my record has been I think I've managed to go 3 rounds in Gambit where I've gotten 12 Guardians down. And I was kind of shocked that I was able to pull that off. But, broken watch is right twice a day. I do not know. Wait, is that is Slash, right? I should leave my glasses on. Was it Slash or Stash? He was with Amy and Butte. Oh, call me Stash. Okay, feel free to drop him a shout out. I'd love to look him up. Yeah, I'm always open to meeting new folks. There we go. Call me Stash. All right, let me just pull that up, and I'll make sure that he doesn't come blaring in. Nope. Okay. Jeez. It's always an amazing thing when you see someone being hosted, and the screen just comes up, and you just see someone with a gun, and you see all the hits just stacking one on top of the other. And I'm like, okay, this girl knows what she's doing. He's a deaf content creator who is super OP. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, I really wish I had met this guy before Twitch for Dummies. I would have loved to have featured him. Okay. But, yeah, actually, Marv, I think I posted it on Greatest Hits in the Discord. But I did have an end to the stream. I was running, I think I was running Gambit with Jen and Obi at one point. I can't remember, but I went in and I was having a pretty decent round, but I was wearing my Reaper gear and I was trying to make sure, okay guys, I'm just going to take care of I'm not going to invade, and nobody was invading. And so I was like, okay, I'll go over and invade. And I ended the day with an army of 1, which was a nice way to end a stream. Marv, he made me want to delete T2 when I matched up with him and I bet. Matched him in doubles and he wrecked my Yeah, there are and I know for a fact I will never be that player. And that's something I've accepted. I will never be that player, because if I wanted to be that player, I'd have to stop writing. Okay? Seriously. But you know what the kind of player I want to be is if somebody sees me on and they go, "Oh, T's on. Let me go see if we can get T to run with us." I don't mind saying it always makes me smile if I happen to poke my head in a Dan Finity stream and Dan says, "T, what are you doing right now? We need somebody for a raid. Come on in." It's like, okay, cool, all right. Well, again, that's the difference, Marv. You got to give yourself some credit. There is a victory there. You weren't total shit. You were moderately shit. So that's like being, are you a full on ass or are you just a half ass? I mean, that's the way you got to look at it. I love playing with the Last Rites players. They can teach you so much. I was with Vort earlier. Dude went off with 53 kills. Jeez. Yeah. That's savage. But I mean, if you were to ask me about last week and say what, was I worried about my numbers? No, I wasn't really worried about my numbers. Concerned, maybe. Worried, no. But if anything, I just missed it. And that's when I feel like you have you're in a good mental headspace to be a streamer or to be a content creator or even to be a podcaster. You just need to be in a space where it feels like if you're not putting out a podcast or if you're not streaming, then a part of you is missing. And that's how I feel. I feel like in a very short time, I feel the same way about streaming as I do about podcasting. If I'm not doing one or the other, and I feel the same way about writing. If I'm not doing all of these things, I sink into a depression. Because I genuinely enjoy the time I spend on here. I genuinely enjoy the back and forth with chat. It's become a part of my life, and if I couldn't do it, it would break my heart. And yeah, and so I think too, when you take a look at the kind of stream that you're creating and the kind of podcasts that you're creating, if you're looking at the content that you're creating, the reason why all stages of health, physical, mental, emotional health matter is that it's reflected in your work. And if you feel that people are drawn to your content because of the sincerity behind it, or because of the approach that you take, all of these things can be affected by those 3 different types of health. And you've got to come first. And you have to come first. You have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself, then your stream will suffer. I wish I had the luxury of longer streams, but I do not. Which is why I don't take for granted the streams that I am able to produce and the streams that I am able to put together. And that's why when people come into chat, with the exception of saying stupid Nazi crap, I try to give everybody a fair shot in this in this community, in this modest community that I'm trying to build, and I just want to make sure that when people come here, they know that this is a place where you can hang, you can be yourself, you can talk about anything, you can ask me about anything, or as what's happening between Shav and Marv, you can talk amongst yourselves, and everybody is part of the conversation. But when you lose momentum, like I did last week, these are the steps you need to take. These are the steps you need to take to get back into it. And next week there's going to be a happy hour, and then the week after that there's going to be a shared desk. Pip and I will be. In fact, I have to make sure. I just realized I have to make sure that Pip and I find some time to do it, because next week is Mother's Day. In America, it's Mother's Day, and we have a family cookout the night before, and then we're sticking around. And Sunday is going to be me hanging out with Pip and my mom and my daughter. So we probably will take Mom to a cidery, get her liquored up. That'll be fun. And I probably will take a quick... I'm probably going to take a quick break because I feel like my water intake is getting a little low here. You know what, Unicorn? You and me both. So we can be on the farm team together. See, this is the thing, Unicorn. I've watched you... Before you say, well, I'm not going to reach that level, keep in mind, I heard Jenny say the exact same thing. Jenny, or as people know her on this stream, Biohazard Babe, Jenny, she is a monster now. That girl is like she's just chomping the bit. Let's do Crucible. I don't think she's a Gambit or a Gambit Prime girl, but man, does she love herself some Crucible. She has just become a machine. She is like savage. And I tell you what. By the way, real quick. To be fair, if anybody's got any questions, ask me anything about content creation, about podcasting for dummies, Twitch for dummies, or how to write a dummies book, or any of that. Feel free to ask them now. You're more than welcome to. That's what the stream is all about. I was saying earlier, Marv, one of the reasons why I have struggled with my jump mechanics. You missed me talking about it earlier. It goes back to when I first got into D1 and I didn't know jump mechanics existed. The guy that one of the guys that I originally ran with basically said, press X. I said, because I remember I got into the game and he was really excited that I got the game. But then I found out later it was because that way he could go on ahead and Sherpa me, but never really tell me what I needed to do to advance. It was Obi who said, T, has anyone ever told you about the jump mechanics? And I said, all I know is to press X. And he said, okay, T, here's a video you need to watch. And Obi pointed me to the True Vanguard, and this was in D1, and I'm learning this after playing Destiny for a year. And that's when I started thinking maybe I need to dedicate a little more time into this game and start, asking questions, not just the people I run with, but let me look online for other stuff. And I've said it on the stream before, and I'll say it again. Marv was fantastic in getting me out of my comfort zone. I mean, if you would have told me last year when Forsaken dropped that I was going to two-man a Shattered Throne with someone who had only run the Shattered Throne once before, and that we were going to complete it, and then we were going to go back and do it again with two different classes, and shave off an hour from our time, I would have said, not me. I'm not that player. And that all comes from Marv pushing me out of that comfort zone. And when I say I feel like I have a lot to learn, I feel like I do, because the problem with running with people who have that experience and have the time to dedicate to a game that I don't have the time, I think I'll always be at a disadvantage with. good example. Well, no, that's not necessarily true, Marvin. I will put it this way. Maybe you do need to plug one of my ears. There are some details that I have a tough time retaining. You're right. You're absolutely right. But I wouldn't say I never retain. Like, for example, when you told me about the dire skull of Ahamkara, which I never really looked at. I never quite understood how that perk worked until you broke it down for me, and then we went into Gambit Prime. That is constantly stuck with me, and it's been frustrating because now I'm at a point where I know when I've screwed up. But what I was going to say though is that one of the reasons why I have a tough time with retention on certain things is like when we went through the Shattered Throne, I've never quite understood the geography of where we are, and just trying to jump and trying to keep up with. I work so hard trying to keep up with people that I get myself lost. Another perfectly good example of that is also the Leviathan. When people are talking about how and basically that's what's going to be the Season of Opulence. We're going back to kind of knew that we're Season of Opulence, and they show a picture of the Leviathan. Okay, we're heading back to the Leviathan. I know nothing about that the underbelly. All I know about the underbelly is that I'm told, okay, we're going in. We're going to use the shortcut in the underbelly. We're going to T. I'll tell you when to throw your switch. I do not understand the code on how to throw the switch. I'm sure there are videos out there that explain it, but the underbelly is just a confusing, and that's something we share in common. But I know I've run that underbelly at least 10 times with Dan, and I still don't know where I'm at. I recognize certain junction points where I go, oh, okay, I know what we do here. I know what we do here, and I know we're not supposed to be caught by the sentry bots here, so we have to do X, Y, and Z. I just think, especially when it comes to the Ascendant challenges and things like that, I have been told by some people that I am my own worst enemy. See, I haven't even done the Scourge of the Past yet, and I would love to do the Scourge. I would love to do that. Haven't had a chance to. Just haven't had the right sense of timing. Really, what I want to focus on though is getting. I want to get a raid together and take Steve through a raid. Nice job. I saw your stream earlier today. I saw you were doing that, by the way. And it looked like you were tearing it up a bit. Yeah, I mean, I think I have to also, because I sometimes get, and I think one of the reasons why it looks like things don't retain with me is because I am not repeating certain steps that you've walked me through before. I little things that I've been ignoring for a long time, like the perks. And this is my problem. I tell myself, well, I'll go back and look at the perks later. I've stopped doing that. I now am looking specifically at weapons perks so that I understand what they are, what they mean. I was always putting that off till another time, and that's not the way to play Destiny. That's not the way to play any game that is multi-layered as Destiny. So I feel like I'm getting a little better at that retention level. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that I've got this. I'm just saying that I've learned. I want to say in the past 3 months. Especially, I'll tell you what I think has helped a lot. The grind for these things. I've learned more about Destiny from grinding for Wayfarer and grinding for Cursebreaker. I learned so much about the game and so much about, little things about the maps, and I'm like, I should have done this a lot sooner. But I think part of my problem was that there was always something else to do, and this is something we've talked about before on my stream. There's so many other things to do. There's going for Game of Prime stuff. There's going for it's going for the Reckoning. They're all, and I feel like that by putting off some of the smaller details, I missed out, and I'm trying to make up for that. But what I'm really striving for, if there's anything I'm trying to strive for, Playing Trials with Scott was my turning point in Destiny. Yeah, Trials. I did Trials once with Munch, and it was okay. Like the reason why I say it was okay was because I didn't particularly like, no one ever explained to me. Yeah, played with someone good, and he taught me how to game manage. But then there are these other little things that I feel like no one ever explained to me. Case in point, when I was doing Trials with Munch, and I can't remember who else I was running with, but it was me, Munch, another friend of his, and then two other. Is it teams of 4 or teams of 5? I'm trying to remember now. But I remember we would get into matchmaking, and they would inspect the other team, and then they would go, T, pull us out. And I'm like, why? Well, these guys have hacked the game. They're hackers. Get out. And I'm like, well, how do you know? Trust me, T, we know. Just pull us out and get us back into matchmaking. Okay, that's great. Apparently they have this way of finding out who are cheaters or hackers at the game, and apparently they were everywhere in Trials, at least according to this afternoon that I spent in Trials. I got some pretty sweet weapons out of it, but that's why I said the Trials was an okay experience for me, because I was never explained. Well, this is what you look for to find out if these people have hacked the game or not. And I don't know if that was just somebody pulling my leg, or if that was just what server they were on. I've seen people cheat in other games before, and I know that most of the time when that happens to other people, it's like, well, we're pulling from you're pulling from the Chinese server or the Asian server, and that's how you know, because most of the cheaters come from there. I mean, Destiny Tracker, you can see the match before game UI, and you can gain here, so you can kind of tell. See, okay, so let me read that again. Destiny Tracker, you can see the match and map before the game user interface. If you look at the game history, you can kind of tell. Only real way to tell is that people on a win streak with 0 kills between them, meaning they are DDoSing. People on a win streak with 0 kills. Okay, that's interesting. Well, now I know. See, that's the thing. Nobody told me that. So I'm going to add to my myriad of stuff here. Let me Destiny Tracker. Oh, this thing. Okay. And again, because I don't really go to Destiny Tracker often, I'm always the last person to, I'm always the last person to look into something like this. I never bother checking unless they actively do it to me, and then screen grab report. It's only happened to me once. They DDoS someone on their own team. Now, you see that. I tell you what, that is something I will never understand. Why people feel like they have to cheat at a video game. You've got to be a special kind of miserable to want to be able to cheat in a video game just for bragging rights of like, hey, look at where I'm at. Yeah, all they see are the IPs. Right. Because all they see are the IP. Oh, Because, oh, sorry, that wasn't in response to what I was saying, because all they see are the IPs. Find Fallout Plays video on the guy who DDoS. It's so karma. Okay, well. I remember seeing a video of Dr. Disrespect. Someone had cheesed him in, I think he was playing PUBG, and the guy had some kind of aimbot, and the guy was able to shoot people, or actually anticipate people. He could see them through the walls, basically. VPNs have become. Oh, really? So people are now using VPNs to cheat. Really? Is that the thing? That's interesting. That's really interesting. Or are they using it as a defense against cheating? See, now you got me curious about this, because I used to deal with this kind of stuff all the time when I worked at this place called Intersection. VPNs. So VPNs are now being used to protect yourself. That's interesting. That's really interesting. I got to find a pocket of time and research that, like really do some digging and just read up on that. That's interesting. Huh. All right, so I tell you what, let me go on ahead and just take a quick break. I'm gonna switch over to a chair cam for a bit, and I'm going to refill my water bottle here, and then we can pick up our chat from where we left off. Either about we can be talking about Destiny 2 for a bit. If you have questions about any of the books that I've written, or if you want to talk a little bit more about how health matters, although I think we've covered it pretty thoroughly in this past 2 hours. It's like putting a condom on your internet. That's one way of looking at it. Okay. Yep. Words to live by, chat. Words to live by. But anyway, let me go on ahead and refill my drink. Talk amongst yourselves. When I get back, we will pick up conversation where we left off. All right. Be right back, everybody. Oh, and if anyone's curious, the reason why I don't switch to an intermission screen is because this particular theme that I was playing around with doesn't have an intermission screen. So, working out new layouts for the chat and all that stuff. I'll let you know on stream. You turned it into a command. I love it. I love it. So chat. The scone of the day from my lovely wife. Chocolate chip and hazelnut. My wife is a goddess. My wife is a goddess. My wife is a goddess. Oh. Chocolate chip and hazelnut scones. My wife is a fucking goddess. I worship the ground she walks on. Right now, you wish you were me. Don't deny it. You wish you were me with these fresh out of the oven chocolate chip and hazelnut scones. Now, I did say ask me anything. Ah, chicken Kievs. Now we're talking. Nice one. Nice one, bud. Nice one. I was going to say that I did say it was ask me anything, but I will tell you this. If your question is, can we mail you some scones? I'm like, nope. You're going to have to come here to the States. Pay us a visit. But, that's not the same rain that I felt flattered by beyond reproach when she said, are those your emotes? Because those emotes are dope. And I was like, oh wow, they're dope, cool. Anyway, so for anyone just tuning in, I'm eating a fresh scone for my wife. But you were also just joining a quick howdy do from T on Twitch. I'm T. How are you? And welcome to my stream. The thing about this stream is that this is a Sunday afternoon special. I decided this would be a good time for me to come on and just say hi to everybody and reintroduce myself, if you will, because for the past week I have been offline. As you can tell, my throat's a little raw here. I got a bad case of con crud, or as I was calling it, the Wrath of Thanos, because it was fine and I was able to manage it until after I saw Avengers Endgame, and then once I left Endgame, that's when the coughing started kicking in. And it took the rest of the week for me to get a good night's sleep. The consequence was that I was unable to stream for the entire week. And I thought this would be a good topic to bring on here. For me to come on here and talk a little bit about what happens when you get sick, when you lose momentum. How do you pick yourself up again? And we've been talking a lot about physical health, mental health, emotional health, all the healths when it comes to how it affects your stream and what to do when you recover from a stream. Now I'm very lucky. I've got Shav, who used to stream, and I've got Marv, who is a streamer, an active streamer, and they've been chipping in on their own thoughts about the importance the importance of all the different things that you can accomplish when your health is in check. So I'm opening it up for questions. If you got any questions about the topic at hand, which was, how are you doing? No, how are you doing? Or if you want to ask me questions about writing a For Dummies book, writing fiction, any of that stuff, by all means, feel free to drop me a question in chat. I would love to hear from you. It gives me a chance to get in some of these as well. Oh. My wife is a goddess. That might be something I have to do tomorrow, off stream, obviously. I need to spend my remaining essences. I wound up getting the Arbalast finally, and I'm getting a lot of the same. I'm getting pieces of the armor, but I'm getting different rolls on it. But most of the time, the original roll that I got on the armor, I've been sticking with. But I got the Arbalast. I gotta admit, that's a pretty decent. It's a very smooth. Linear fusion rifle with very little recoil. Oh, you got the emblem. You got the emblem from the forest. Nicely done. Yeah, it's good. I really enjoy it. I was not expecting to have a Cabal shield himself and have me one-shot him through the shield. That stunned me. I was like, wow, okay. Took a Minotaur down with 2 shots. I was like, oh, all right. I'm real happy with this. I guess the where the rubber meets the road is going to be, do I want that to be the exotic that I want to use? But yeah, I definitely locked it down. It's a good gun. I'm really liking it. I'm digging it. That's the other thing too, Chad. If you have questions on Destiny, I can. If I don't answer them, trust me, some of these other guys in the chat will. Trolling in PvP with Arbalast and Vestian Dynasty. That was the game I got 29 kills. Nicely played, Shav. Nicely played. Wow. Mm-hmm. There we go. Remember, if you see me keel over or die on this stream, you can say you were there when it happened. But yeah, I'm a writer of two books in the Dummies series. Podcasting for Dummies has been popular enough and sold well enough that we actually churned out a 3rd edition. What time is no, that question I've got that one I've got I can answer. What time is Game of Thrones in the U.S.? We are at T-minus 3 hours and 18 minutes. 3 hours and 18 minutes. This one, I'm assuming this is going to be a transitional episode. I had an enhanced trip mines with it. It was so toxic. I like that, Chef. I like that a lot. So Game of Thrones. First off, I will agree with that the biggest. Oh, stop it, Shav! Don't yuck other people's yum. I agree that the Battle for Winterfell was wonderful. It was wonderful. But the fact that they shot it with natural lighting and it was dark. I mean, it was really dark. That was, I think that was sort of a hiccup on their part. And I will also say I'm not going to go into any spoilers because some people may be a week behind, but I'll just leave it at this. I think that there were some assets that the Winterfell allies had that went vastly and grossly underused. Battle of the contrast ratio in my mind. No kidding, man. It was ridiculous. I mean, even Branagh, when he did Henry V, and they were doing not the Battle of Agincourt, the Battle of Harfleur. Yeah, that was at night, but you know what? They had enough things burning that they could at least light people so you could see what was happening. It was really confusing as to see who was happening to whom and what, and maybe that was what they were going for. You know, that whole what the hell is happening, and that works. That works in small spurts, but when you're making the entire episode like that, that gets a little rough. I still thought it was absolutely brilliant. It was good. This episode, I'm just kind of nodding and going, okay, well let's see where the chips fall now, and let's see where we're headed next. But you know, it has dragons. You're killing me, Shav. So just changing gears for a bit. Just saw the most recent new Twilight Zone. The new I don't know if has the new Twilight Zone featuring Jordan Peele, has that reached the UK, or is that only available is that only available here in the United States? Kind of curious. I'm genuinely curious about that. If they took the dragons out, it might be okay. Now you see? Now he's trolling. I love it. I love you. I love you, man. So I don't know if anybody caught that question. Is the new Twilight Zone playing in the UK, or is that strictly in the United States right now with CBS All Access? I'm curious about that. Okay. Well, there's something else too that we that Pip and I just watched. There's a brand new film about Ted Bundy, and it's on Netflix, and it's called Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. And if you know anything about Ted Bundy, Zac Efron, they nailed the look of Ted Bundy. I mean, it was terrifying how they made him look like Ted Bundy. The movie's actually very good. I think it's been getting a lot of harsh criticism for all the wrong reasons. For one thing, they're saying that they're glorifying, or they're trying to humanize. They're trying to humanize Bundy. Yeah, I know. It is a really, really off the wall cast, Marv. James Hetfield, as in Metallica's James Hetfield, he's in this movie. John Malkovich is in the movie. Haley Joel Osment is in the movie. It's a really solid cast. Jim Pearsons, is it Pearson or Pearsons, from The Big Bang Theory, he's in it. It's a really, really well-made movie. I mean, I admire Zac Efron for pushing the boat out as hard as he did. Funny thing is that I think that where people are saying that they're glamorizing it, I think for me it was more like they were showing just how terrifying this guy truly was, because at least in this particular film version of it, they were really playing around with how he was trying to explain away and deny everything, and just not even touch it, not even touch what he had done. And the thing is, and this is not really a spoiler, but the incidents happen, the killings happen, but unlike in other biopics, they never show them. You never see any of the killings until the very end of the film. You channel your inner monkey. I don't know if I'd describe it as inner monkey. More like more like the nastiest, most grumpy lizard part of the brain that and just goes savage. But he was amazing. He was really amazing in that. Yeah, I'm starting to fall behind in some stuff that I want to see, but inner monkeys don't need. Oh, yeah, there you go. They don't need pants. Are we back on pants again? We're back on pants. Okay, I see that. Yeah. It's good to know that we're back on pants. So there we go. Yeah, there's a couple of things on Prime that I need to get caught up with. It was weird though today, because of the false start that I had, and I didn't want to be coughing, or even take the chance of coughing through church. I basically said, yeah, let me sleep in. So we wound up mainlining a whole bunch of documentaries. Me and the wife. We were watching a lot of documentaries hosted by Lucy Worsley. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Lucy Worsley. I don't know if you guys have. All the warning signs there. It was in. Yeah. Oh, his childhood was a huge tragedy, but they don't touch on that. Oh, there we go. Hey, Chef. Thanks for hanging out. Good night, buddy. Love you. Love you hard. Appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot. We should never stray away from the pants conversation. But yeah, Lucy Worsley, if you don't watch this woman, she is in my opinion, she is a UK treasure, Lucy Worsley. Her documentaries are an absolute hoot. I really dig them. I tell you what it is. One, she's cute as a button when she gets dressed up. That's the one thing. Secondly, she is whip smart. Man, she is whip smart. I mean, the stuff that she just goes deep into. It's oh yeah, though. I totally get that. I totally get it. I don't even know how we discovered her, but oh no, wait. So okay, so here's this thing about writers and Hannah Fry and Alice Robert. Okay, now I got to look it up. Hannah Fry. Oh, I've seen that. Oh, I've seen her before. Yeah. Smart women. I've seen Hannah Fry before. And the other one was, hey, Will. She has mischief in her eyes. How are you, Ominous Will? How are you? Good to see you. Okay, so she's the mathematician. I do not know Alice Roberts. Ooh. I don't think I've seen her on the tube yet. And Ominous Will with the host. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that. Do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Did that alert show up okay? I didn't get to see the alert. I should probably look at the editor real quick and just see where they put. Yeah, the alert box should have been fine. Okay. Cool. All right, it's working fine. Yeah, I'm still working my way through this new layout for chat, because I wanted to try something different, and this has been fun. Oh, there we go. And unicorn with the host now, so now I see it. Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, well, I've been hanging out here trying to get back into the swing of things of just streaming. We got a casual night here tonight at the Morris household because I was sick all week, and so I turned my week off of Twitch into the topic du jour for this little quick Sunday afternoon special. I feel pretty good about the stuff we covered. It's been a good stream, and now we're just casually talking. We've gone from talking about your personal health in creating content and how that affects content to talking about different pop culture crushes that we have. For Marvinsky, it's a mathematician and an anthropologist. For me, it is a historian from, I believe, she's at Windsor? I believe she's at Windsor. No, she's at Hampton Court. She's at Hampton Court. Yeah. And anyway, so right now, Will, we are just cruising through and we're also talking about now more people coming in. T, Successful Geek, how are you, sir? Good to see you, Adam. Good to see you, man. You look like you're just waking up, Benedict. I'm sorry. Am I keeping you from sleeping? Is that what's going on? We're just kind of casually talking about media and talking about what's out there. No, seriously, Adam. Oh my God, you're killing me. Because I'm not going to Guardian Con, man. But the Marvinsky is. So you got to look up Marv, man. You got to look up Marv. Sister Wendy? Who is Sister Wendy, Monkey? Who is that? Now, real quick. So, okay. Okay. So that's true. That is in your backyard. That is in your backyard. So I totally get that. Well, you've got a lot to look forward to. Now, keep in mind, I am not the one with the massive foo when it comes to finding out. There's a good possibility Pip has seen her in a documentary. She probably has. But no, I did not know Sister. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. I stand corrected. I have seen this woman before. See, Pip's got this weird superpower. She can find people in their documentaries, and it's like, wow, this is a little secret. Why haven't we heard out this person before? Yeah. My wife does the doc. She can just dig deep for a documentary, and it's crazy some of the stuff she has found. Absolutely crazy. But I do know. But you know, right? You're right, Monkey. I didn't realize that she had passed. So, let's change gears here a bit. So you've never been to a video game con, but you're excited to test out Borderlands 3. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. All right, so. If you're going to do Borderlands 3 as a test, get ready to wait. I had the VIP ticket for Guardian Con last year, and we got in we got in an hour before anybody else, day one, and we tested out Gambit. We tested out Gambit. First off, it was a blast. Secondly, being on the VIP ticket, that made the wait for me roughly, I want to say it was 2.5 hours. See, there you go. So it was about 2.5, 3 hours, and we got to play Gambit. But here was how it broke down, Adam. You got the people that are waiting in line. And then there was a second section of people who were waiting in line to get to the main line. Then there was a third section of people, and this is interspersed throughout the entire convention floor. Granted, they got a new convention floor, so that's a different story altogether. But there was a third group that was waiting to get in line for the second group, and the second group was waiting to get in line with the third group. Yeah, 7 hours. There was a 7 hour wait, and people waited, but as far as the people that are there and the guests that are there, yeah, there's going to be some really good people there. Marv will be there. Lulu will be there. I had to make a tough judgment call. It was either go to GuardianCon or TwitchCon. I could not afford to do both. And with a little bit of back and forth, I said, you know what? I think I want to go to TwitchCon. And right now I'm on the waiting list to be notified when the doors open, and then I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to get my ticket for TwitchCon. And I have my grand plan for TwitchCon is to network and to hey Marv, that is a worthwhile goal right there, to annoy Lulu and hug Rain. Absolutely. Yeah, I had to, again, TwitchCon for me was more like, okay, so here would be the way I would describe it, Adam, to kind of give you a reference. GuardianCon is like DragonCon. TwitchCon is like Blog World or Podcast Portable Media Expo. It's, one's about networking, the other one's about having a good time and maybe slipping in some networking on the side. That was the way I felt GuardianCon was for me last year. But really, one of the best things about GuardianCon last year was that was where I got to interview a lot of the people for this. So, in fact, Marv was one of my first interviews, and as Marv can attest, he was highly hungover, but he kept it together, and he gave me a fantastic interview. I don't think he remembers it, but, he gave me a really good interview. Yeah, and you know what? Here's the best part about that. One of the best parts about that, Adam, is that there's also a lot of really good. There's some really good vendors at. Aura doesn't remember that morning. That's funny because we saw Aura that morning. You were in line with us, and he came in. We hugged. Hey, how you doing, man? And he has no recollection of that. That is hysterical. There are a lot of good vendors at GuardianCon. One of them was actually Origin PC. That was how I heard about them. And then I was keeping it classy there, Marvinsky. But that was where I first heard of Origin PC, and that was how I basically went to their site, built the rig that I have. And you were great for that 8 a.m. interview, man. You were great for that. Yeah, I say, well, I make no bones about it. That was why I did what I did. That's why I did what I did with Twitch for Dummies. When I first started Twitch for Dummies, I'm like, this is so that I could get a really solid stream machine. And if I can get a few years out of this machine, I'll be thrilled. But GuardianCon was a terrific event. I will give you a hard recommendation though, Adam. Make sure you swing by the King's Coast coffee table. The people who run GuardianCon are the people who run King's Coast Coffee. And man, King's Coast Coffee, it's yum. Just yum. Also going to Dice Tower Con around GuardianCon. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Good times. Oh, and I see. So here's the thing. Geek. What's a geek? Adam. So here's the thing, Adam. If your wife is obsessed about coffee, she needs to try the stuff at King's Coast. I just recently joined their club, and like every few weeks, I will get, I basically said, every so often send me more coffee. So I'm trying out. I love their Fair Winds brew. Fair Winds is a terrific blend. If you want to go on there right now, it's King Coast. I think it's kingcoastcoffee.com. You should get there. But definitely hook up with Marv. Marv's good people. They also have this thing though at King's Coast called the Roasters Blend, and they do off the wall roasts. They're not always going to offer them, but they kind of test them out. and that's. I mean, their blends are fantastic. You were looking to sit here, right? You're looking to sit here.
Little kitty.
Yes. My wife just got in. No, I'm sorry. The goddess has just walked in. The goddess just walked in. Yes. What?
Why do you say that?
Because I took one bite of that chocolate hazelnut,
coffee.
and I said, "My wife is a goddess. My wife is a fucking goddess."
Just remember that.
And she is.
So what you doing?
Well, right now I'm just doing some light chatter. Turns out, do you remember Adam Teese?
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to Guardian Con. It's in his backyard, so he's going this year.
Anybody going to TwitchCon?
Unfortunately, no. I think Marv was talking about going to TwitchCon, but it may be a financial thing, but whether or not he can afford both.
Coast, right?
Yeah, I mean that means that he'd have to go all the way to here. He'd probably land in IAD, and then go from IAD all the way out to California. I don't think there is a non-stop from the UK to from London to. I don't think there's.
Might be.
Really? London to LA?
Yeah. Hey, if I can fly from Singapore to London, that's quite a haul.
That's true. That's true.
I was just wondering if you want to come.
This is my wife, everybody. It's my wife.
I wanted to see if you wanted to do pizza.
Oh, are we at the point now where we need to make pizza?
Well, I thought we might. The pizza's ready.
What movie? By the way, what movie did you want to watch tonight?
I don't know.
Monkey says hi. Adam Teese says hi.
Hi.
Big Marv gives you one of these.
Oh, Big Marv.
Unicorn says hi. Yeah. Suddenly, you walk in here. Suddenly, everybody lights up and chat.
Everybody wants my chocolate hazelnut scones.
Yes, they do.
Why.
Yes, they do. Feel like crying some more? Watch Endgame again. No kidding. No kidding. Hoping to work Dragon Con if we get the contract, but I have a few anime cons I'm working on. Haven't been to a game or sci-fi con yet. Dragon Con's intense.
Ooh, yeah.
Dragon Con is intense. I was talking about Dragon Con. Here's the thing. Mother Dragon says hi, Pip.
Hi, Mother Dragons. It's Game of Thrones tonight.
Game of Thrones tonight. Although I will say, I think this episode will be better lit than the Battle for Winterfell.
Otherwise, I'm fiddling with the TV settings.
Yeah, I know.
Somebody just pointed out to me.
Okay, there is actually a 11-hour flight from London Heathrow to LAX. That's a haul. That's a haul.
Oh, it's nothing. We've done 14 hours to New Zealand. Come on.
14 hours to New Zealand, chat. 14 hours to New Zealand.
Somebody just pointed out to me that there is there's lemon curd. Did you know that there's such a thing as mango curd?
What? Why are you telling me about this?
Because I'm going to make it.
You're going to make it?
You can make
You're going to make
mango curd. Can you imagine that on a hot scone?
It's nothing for a Kiwi. Mango curd. I did not know. I did not know that.
Can you imagine that on a hot scone?
I might be going to more... This is Adam. I might be going to more Comic-Cons. A friend of mine works for a company that certifies artist signatures. And they need periodic people to help with witnessing... Oh, that's slick.
Oh.
That's really slick. Isn't she great? I know. No, Marv. She's not great. She's a goddess.
Don't you forget it.
Those
Mother of kitties.
Mother of kitties. Yeah, now Bass is up here.
I have 3 kitties.
Yeah.
So.
Well, are they all here now?
One got off.
Because there's Benedict.
Bye.
And now
she'll come. She's a good girl.
Oh wow. So this thing that Adam is involved with, this friend of his, they would pay for travel, con, and food.
Oh yeah.
No pay, but he gets to attend the con free, outside of the signing session. That's not bad at all.
That's a good deal.
That's a good deal there. That's a good deal.
I have found a recipe for mango curd. Now,
so. How many mangoes does it take though to make mango curd?
It says 1 cup of thawed frozen mango pulp. Well, we're not going to pulp it. We make our own pulp.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, so how many mangoes would that take?
I don't know. I'll probably say 2 or 3.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, this stream started with Serena being in the area and chatting with me while I was on the mic, and now it's going to end with Pip. So I think this might be a good place to wrap up stream.
Bon appetit.
Let's see who's on.
Mango lime curd. Ooh.
Oh, you know who's on? Meadow Fox is on. I really like Meadow. Meadow's good people. So let's do this. Let's go on ahead and... Oh, wait a minute. Can't use that one because that's the morning. So let's just do... There you go. Yep. So what I'd like for you to do is, yeah, the whole family. Whole family. Let's go ahead and copy that. And we are going to raid... And you know, I'm not gonna mince words. I'm not really sure what's the better. I've seen people doing both the manual approach to this, the whole manual approach to rating, and then there's using the actual Twitch application to do it with. I've been asked what's the difference, and I've heard very little to say which one is better than the other.
Is one of them like...
Yeah.
Is one of them on the app? Like if you're watching Twitch on your phone?
Well, no, it's a command. It's a /raid command. Now, I know that also, if you're raiding other people, Twitch can track that. Versus manually, which doesn't work as well. Oh. But I think raid you for... Yeah, that's true. And I think that's kind of what you want, because to me, that's kind of a nice thing to be able to do. And let me just go ahead and do a quick refresh as I pick my nose on stream. Thank you. That's keeping it classy.
So sexy.
So sexy. So why don't we go ahead and let's go ahead and let's raid Meadow. She's good people. She gave me a great interview. It's been fun. And like I said, I want to make this more. Oh yeah, sorry Jamie, in too late. But just stick around and you'll meet Meadow. Meadow's good people. Hopefully, I will see her at TwitchCon as well, but we're cross that bridge when we get to it.
Printing out mango lime curd recipes.
And I'm ending the stream. So everybody, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for hanging with me. I'll definitely be doing this again sometime in May. It's going to be a busy month, May, but I'll make time for this. So thanks everybody. Take care of yourselves, and I hope this was a good stream for you all. Until next time, see you tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. Peace.